Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Faith Family Focus. I am your co-host, Faith Suggs, former Duke Women's Basketball graduate and currently CEO and founder of Brand by Faith, a social media digital company, sharing the stories of our clients. And this wonderful man next to me in the beautiful cream is my father, Schaefer Suggs, former NFL player with the New York Jets and the Cincinnati Bengals, and has also served on the executive board and VP with the RPFPC, NFLPA, Chicago chapter. Good morning, Dad. How are you?
Good morning. You always have something to say about my attire.
It's a beautiful ivory cream.
I'm trying to stay warm here. It is 9 degrees below zero here. I don't know what it's like in Manhattan, Kansas. But
I don't really try to go out there when you're telling me it's 9 degrees in Chicago. I'm going to try to stay out of the cold.
9 degrees below zero.
Yeah, see that I couldn't even register that mentally. They should shut schools down for that for sure. But no, what is new? I know the weather is a little hectic. So we had a wonderful show on Monday. It's been a while since we visited our viewers on a Wednesday.
Yes, we have. Yeah, this is a really great opportunity to share some really good stuff about who am I. But just kind of backing up, this is nice. I think this is our second season, our 47th episode. I think our first season we had 126 episodes, so we're rolling along, and we have some unbelievable guests today. Two very distinguished people that I have spent probably the last 7-8 months working with, and I can't wait to share that story. But I'll let you finish with the intro, though.
Yeah, no, nothing's new. We had a wonderful show on Monday discussing coaching in today's society, which it started off as we got to that part about towards the end of the show because we really had a great discussion prior about, not just the playoffs, but also, the overtime rule, which I will say is now a majority of sports people would like the football overtime rule to be changed. That's all I'm going to say. Yes. Now, who knows? But the game can evolve or should evolve, I should say. But what do I know? I don't play it.
Well, you promoted the change on Monday. I think they will definitely look at it hard. My neighbor down the hallway, big Buffalo fan, he had a hard time even talking to me. He said playoff format sucks. So there's going to probably be something. I like the idea of just making sure you give every team an opportunity, especially in a game of that magnitude.
Yeah.
That's something that they need to look at, right? So
I don't know. If we can extend the game longer, I'm for it. And take out the coin.
Take out the coin? Well, they start the game with the coin.
Some people don't know how to flip a coin correctly. That's all I want to say. So you just leaving it up to not just chance, but also the ability to flip a coin by a person who's a referee. So, I'm a little moving towards the new school of things. I don't know.
Cool.
But it's nice. It's a tradition for sure. Don't take away tradition completely, but the overtime rule can go.
Right.
Overtime rule can go. College basketball is underway. A wonderful week of games. I'm telling you, I watched Duke in a thriller last night against Clemson, which is never good if you're in a thriller with Clemson. But they pulled it out at the end. But I'm telling you, Coach K might not get his national championship this year, and I'm very sad about it. But it's the truth.
This is last year, and he probably will struggle. I also saw your Kansas State.
We don't have to talk about that. Baylor is so good. The Baylor, they're back. I don't know if they'll win the national championship this year. I don't know because that's a really hard job to do back to back. But Baylor is really good. They're good.
So just so you know, I had a very quiet response to Reggie from the Kansas Jayhawks. I didn't respond to the fact that we lost. He was very nice about it, very cordial about it. But he'll probably have something to say when he gets on. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. But I didn't go there. I went to a school for winners.
My God.
I've never in my life lost to a school in the Big 12. Never will. I finished my career well with that. But yeah. That was a good game. That was a fun rivalry game, for sure. I'm counting down the days towards Duke, Carolina. Those kids are out there camping in the snow. For those of you who don't know, at Duke, they do a camping system. Every other school has tried that. Duke is the of it. I'm not like just biased by saying that. They camp out there. They have a hot tub, I believe, a portable hot tub out there. It's pretty interesting to watch. Sports drives people crazy for sure. But I'm counting down the days for that game. We go to Chapel Hill and leave with the W for sure. Hopefully. It'd be embarrassing if we didn't, for sure. But, what is new with you? Since we last talked, do you have any predictions for our Super Bowl? I mean, you've had some time to think about it. I know you didn't give me an answer on Monday.
So I'm going with Kansas City.
That's such an easy answer, though.
What's the right answer?
I mean, I'm going with them, too.
Okay.
But I feel like we're going with them because I don't think that we're going to be correct, though.
They're playing the best football right now. So, but I do love the parity in playoffs this year. This is why it was good. Nice to see Green Bay not in it. I thought Buffalo would probably be stronger, but Kansas City convinced me when they beat Buffalo.
Yeah. So, wow. They highlighted a play, or I think they had Mahomes and Kelsey mic'd up for that last touchdown play. And I think that they just went straight back to backyard football. They ran the complete opposite play. I don't know if you heard this, then what the offensive coordinator, who we were highly speaking about on Monday for potential people for the Miami job, they went completely off record. So I didn't know you could do that. I did not know you could do that.
Right. I love when they go off record like that, mic'd up like that. So if
you guys were mic'd up, would you guys be good to go, or you guys can't be mic'd up in your generation?
We couldn't have been mic'd up. It would be not a good thing. Thank God we didn't have social media back when we played.
Yeah, thank you.
Sideline.
Yeah, I'm almost like in distress that you have it now.
You probably look at your dad differently then. Actually, I was pretty calm on the sideline.
Well, I will say this. Because of this show, if it serves as my personal Facebook to you back then, with all of the wonderful guests we've had on the show that have known you through your life, it has been a blessing to hear the truth about you. The good and the funny, for sure. But we have been extremely blessed with that, with a bunch of great viewers, for sure. But Dad, why don't you tell us a little bit about what today? Why we are here on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I want to introduce the topic, something that we have been working on, event on February 5th. Who am I? And the goal is to empower today's youth with the tools they need to be successful tomorrow. And so blessed to have met Mary, and of course we've known Reggie, Alexander-Basta, who happened to be the mayor of Bolingbrook, who will be our guest. And we met at one of our big events, our golf outing.
Mm-hmm.
And, she had just, I think she had been in her position for a little while. I had a chance to really meet her. But what really resonated with me was her passion for doing something for our youth. And of course, that resonates with me too. And we began to start talking about it. I know she had already spoke to Reggie at the event. And next thing we knew, we were sitting down talking about what can we do to empower our kids. And we decided to do an event. And that was in July. Now it's almost February. We're like 2 weeks out, and we've come a long way. But it's going to be inspiring. We're going to create engaged atmosphere. We have been able to get support from community leaders, both school districts. We got some wonderful guests. I really don't want to spill the beans about who our guest is. We'll talk a little bit about that. But it is coming. I mean, it's actually on all the electronic billboards. The buzz is out, and it will be something that will probably life-changing for a lot of these kids. They just don't know it. We have former NFL players there. We have so many wonderful things in store for that day. So I'd love to get into the topic, get into talking about our guests. And we can kind of go from there.
Right. Well, let me ask you one question. I know we have Reggie back there fixing a technical difficulty just slightly. My question about this is when you guys, had the idea of beginning this. I know we'll dive into this when Mayor and Reggie hop on. But when you guys were thinking about this, has this been something for you personally in growing up in Elkhart, Indiana, that you wished you have had or even had for us as we grew older? Because we really didn't participate in events like this, but you had Boy Scouts. So talk to us a little bit about why this was important for you to get involved with.
Well, it's so important because I have, and I think for Mary, I think for Reggie, that we have a lens on what's going on with our kids today. And as an older parent, I'm beginning to see it. But if some of these tools, we're going to be talking about mental illness. We're going to be talking about leadership. We're going to be talking about something that didn't even exist when I played. That's cyberbullying. We're going to be talking about team. These are all topics that are going to be covered that day. And if I had a lens on that stuff when I was younger, obviously it'd be great tools, but definitely something that as parents on this call, I mean, you have parents on this call, but, community leaders, people that have influence feel how important it is for their kids to have exposure to something like this.
Right. Okay. And then our two guests, Reggie Smith and Mayor Mary Alexander-Basta, correct?
Yes.
Good. Y'all, I always want to get people's, names correct because it matters and it's their story. Will be joining us today. Of course, like you said, we've had Reggie on, and then this will be the mayor's the first time on Faith Family Focus, and we'll bring them on after the commercial break, and they'll be able to talk about them and their beautiful families, and similar to your story, why they wanted to get involved with Who Am I. But before I cut to commercial, is there anything you want to cover or introduce about our guests before we bring them to the viewer?
We'll bring them on and talk to them about that. I mean, it'll go without saying, two wonderful people. And this definitely life changing. Of course, I've known Reggie for many, many years. Just met Mary, and just the impact. I mean, we've actually talked about so many things. Her son's going through the recruiting process, as you know, in our Making of the Champion series. We spent a lot of time on the recruiting process. She has so many questions on how to navigate that. So I've actually met with her son, Peter. So it's really kind of nice to have like-minded people. I mean, not only with this event, but it's also going through some of the things that you and I experienced as a father and as a daughter going through the recruiting process. So it will be really nice to.
Right. Nice. Okay, so after this quick commercial, we will bring the two wonderful guests on, and we will dive right into talking about Who Am I.
Whoa.
Good morning, Reggie. How are you two?
Good morning.
Morning.
Awesome. Reggie, welcome back. It is cold. I feel bad for you guys over there in -8 degrees. Good gosh.
I think the negative feel like it's negative 22.
I dropped my keys in the snow, and I was looking for them last night, and it took me 3 minutes, and I almost froze to death looking for my keys.
Oh man. Reggie, they don't even have keys anymore now for phones now. Sometimes they just have an Apple Watch now, and that's probably why is your experience right there.
Yeah, I have an Apple Watch, but I don't know how to use it. I tell time with it.
Well, we thank you guys for joining us today. I know you guys have been working so hard with my dad and putting together this wonderful event that's coming in. And it's going to be very great. February 5th, it's coming right around the corner. It's almost like we get here. So I'm very excited to kind of dive into it and talk about it. But Reggie, maybe you can kind of kick it off. What exactly in your life and your experience as a parent inspired you to kind of get involved with this awesome event?
Well, I'll take it back a little farther when I was a kid, and just the instinct to always be looking out for community, always be look out for what's happening out there, because you do and you are a difference in your community. And I take it back to my grandmother, and we grew up in Inglewood, and my grandmother, she was a domestic, and she cleaned houses out in the neighborhood I live in now. And she would always have breakfast for us before she left, and dinner when we came home from school, a snack, and studied. And we didn't have much, but all the kids in the neighborhood came around. All the people in the neighborhood who needed something looked to my grandmother first. And watching that, she had an instinct to care for community, and that was branded on me. So I am always excited to be around like-minded people that care about the community and want to get involved. And it doesn't take anything but taking that step to get involved and to do something to help our children, because we know the stressors they are under and we can't ignore what's going on. So to be involved in a project like this is just exciting, because the ripples that we will create, we may not see them, but it's going, just knowing that we're going to touch lives far beyond February 5th is powerful.
Right. Yeah, touching lives for sure. And right now, you guys are up in a big quantity right now of kids that signed up. So I know people are excited. Now, Mayor Mary, give us a little bit of rundown. Now, you are the wonderful mayor of Illinois, but you are also a wonderful mother. And we would love to know, your perspective on why you were so excited to get this event going and get with these kids right here to get going.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. This is awesome. Glad to be here. I am a mother of Irish twin teenage boys, and I, prior to being mayor, was very active in our school district. And I see now that, I often find myself telling my kids, if only you knew the way we had it and the complications we had and the life that we had, you guys have it easy. And then I looked a little bit deeper into that and realized, no, they really don't. While we were more regimented and there were certain things that you just did by virtue of being a child and having no choices. I mean, parents were in control and they led the way. Now there's this, what could be a positive, but oftentimes currently for their age is a negative, is this social media and this exposure to so much more information than what we were exposed to at a younger age or at their age. And then how do they navigate that? Some of them use it to the positive and excel, but unfortunately, many of them don't have the ability to navigate the positive from the negative and to use it in the correct way. And that is often having a very big impact on their personalities, their mental awareness, their time management, and so many other things, along with their self-confidence.
Yeah. And I think that you hit on the nail on the head with many things, is that with the visibility to everything now, being literally everything in comparison to when I was I think I was really hitting the age of for my developmental years with tech, right? Is when tech became a big thing, is when parental lock was a thing. So there were still restrictions and there were still, guidelines to it. But now it is very much access to everything and everyone and whoever. And whoever's, negative feelings and positive feelings and their own mental things. But I think that kids nowadays have a beautiful access to everything in the sense that we are able to now have these wonderful conversations to maybe grow and get closer and teach them from our own perspectives. But also it can be too much education at one time, for sure. Now, Dad, when you talk about it, you gave us the reason why you were so inspired by this event, but as a parent in today's society, what do you think has needed the most attention that you're doing to target a little bit with this event and maybe future events similar?
Well, I think the importance is the amount of time that you spend with your kids. And, as parents, we get so busy with our lives that sometimes we forget that we got to pay attention to. And there's so many things that we need to pay attention to right now. And with social media, that's a whole world that a lot of parents are not, they're either intimidated by it, but just understanding that your kids are having a whole nother life without us even knowing about it. It's technology and social media. And, as a parent now, I mean, just the beginning of it, when you started getting your cell phone, the difference between now when Devin has his cell phone, the access that you have. So as parents, I think it's really important to be aware of what's out there. And I think, having a topic on cyberbullying, a topic on social media awareness is one of our good topics.
Yeah. Reggie, when it comes to the topic I sat down, No, we're fine. I'm just gonna let it kind of go so we can hear each other. Reggie, when you talk about these topics that you guys wanted to bring to the show, we talked about cyberbullying. Why was it important for you guys to also get the NFLPA Chicago RPFPC involved and get those former NFL players on a panel somehow for these students to talk to?
Well, when you're a kid, it's you're living in your world, and it's hard for you to see outside and what it's going to be like down the road. If there is going to be down the road, and what that looks like.
Right.
So for us to be able to show ourselves in the community and let the kids know we were sitting exactly where they were sitting. We had the exact same questions. We had the not the exact same challenges, but similar challenges, things that we were struggling with. And to hear from someone that has walked that road,
Right.
and to be able to say it's going to get better, and here's some information to help it in a positive environment, I think is a great thing. And for us to give back to the communities from where we came from, we were all helped by someone. We were all grabbed by a coach, by a teacher, by someone that saw potential in us and made sure that we stayed on the right road. So it's simply our responsibility to pay that forward and keep that going.
Yeah, completely. And sometimes it goes back down to that kind of visualization, just seeing yourself in the shoes in front of you and imagine you can do it. Now, Mayor, Mary, I will talk about, I asked my father, what right now do you think needs the most attention for you as a mother with teenagers, but also as a mayor of a community? What have you, personalized and tried to draw in to have attention for this event as well?
Well, I think it's important for youth to know that there's always someone you can speak to. That someone might not be a parent, it might be a social worker, it might be a teacher, it might be a neighbor, it might be a friend. But it's very important for our youth to know that there's someone there that's willing to listen and willing to help. We've seen way too often teens thinking that there are no options, it's dead end, teenage suicide, overdose, all these things. And when you hear the reasoning behind them, it's like, are you kidding me? This is not a problem. This is not something worth sacrificing or taking your own life for. But in their mind, this is the end of the world. And so how do we have those communications? How do we give kids options of things to do and know that they have a network to work with, to be a part of, and to reach out to? So that is very key to me. My two passions are youth, because they are the future of tomorrow. And then obviously the second is senior citizens, because they are why we're here today. So definitely working with youth, trying to help them grow, trying to help them be confident in themselves. I experienced major bullying growing up, and I knew that I had options. I either had to overcome it or succumb to it. And that's an option that I'd like for all youth to know. And I oftentimes share my story of what I've encountered and what I've been through and how I was able to overcome that.
Yeah. And I think you just highlighted something key is that, these things are still going on, right? And because of social media, it's even bigger. And my question for you, Dad, is now you have two kids who are grown out of the house, but you were raising them in key moments, when Twitter and Instagram and on social media was starting to begin and grow. And for you, do you feel that sometimes social media can deter key and important conversations within the home at the dinner table that could tap into some of those things Mary was discussing?
Definitely. I actually, with your brother, I think I find it more difficult. I see you and I actually talk a lot, but most of our conversations is via text, and I love communicating with my kids. But that's how he communicates. He's more comfortable. He's busy, and I think you missed something in texting. That's why it was so good to have him home for 30 days. I actually was able to talk to him, and there were times we were in the car together where we were talking, we was comfortable, so we kind of caught up, but now he's back in school, I had to continue to adapt to the type of conversation that I will receive from him. So it's definitely something that, and I think, Mary, you will experience it too when your son goes to college. I know that, Reggie, you probably experience it too. It's just a whole different conversation or lack of conversation that you'll experience.
Yeah, and I mean, you're nodding your head. I know Amber, your daughter, is going to be a moderator for the panel. I'm really excited about that. And she's actually a life coach, which is amazing. I was getting to look at it when I was researching and getting it together for the website. And as a parent, is watching your kids now. I mean, obviously, and Dad, you know this now, as your kids are turning 24, it's kind of coming back full circle where they're like, all right, I'll have this conversation with you now. But there is that key moments between 12 to 22, 12 to 23, where they're busy with life and everything that's going on. So Reggie, when you think about this event, you think back to, who you were at this time, but also parenting young adults during this time. Why do you think this event is good for the parents as well? It looks like you're muted, Reggie. You might have accidentally did it on your end.
Why don't you pivot to Mary then? Okay,
so Mary, while we get Reggie that, why do you think that parents, especially with this event, should be involved in having discussions with their kids, and how can this benefit their family core?
I think it's very important because, unfortunately, all the tragedies or near tragedies we've seen, in speaking to the parents, they were blindsided. It was everybody, or many of the parents have this, not my child. My child doesn't, they're great. They play sports, they laugh, they whatever. It's very important for parents to understand that engaging your kids in a non-confrontational way. Right. So we sometimes have to uplift them. We have to bring out the positives. And at the same time, we don't just let them go rogue. We do have to teach them life lessons, and there does need to be discipline. And there's a fine line between that, of befriending them and guiding them, and also letting them know that there is discipline and respect is key, and so on and so forth. But to me, parents need to understand, regardless of how wonderful, amazing, honor roll, high honor roll, athletic your child is, this can also have an impact on them. And so don't take it for granted that my child is amazing. Yes, that child is amazing, but what is actually going through that amazing mind of theirs? And what stresses are they under? And how can we help navigate those?
Yeah, Reggie, I see you're back with us. You want to give it a try?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yep, perfect.
Got it.
We're talking about parents, and Mary said, discipline. But Mary, it was something that you actually said was in something that I was having a discussion with the other day, is that parents now and seeing, each generation create their own families, is they're taking bits and pieces of what they love from their own family, what their parents did correct, and then learning from what they think their parents can always do better. And I think that that's a key point in this generation, is the parents are teaching, not just through discipline, but through understanding how the discipline will resonate, and how to come off kind, but also show caring. And it's kind of evolving since the past of, I yell at you because I care about you. It's more along the lines of, I'm yelling at you because you need to be yelled at so we can wake you up because we care about you. And that's kind of along the conversation we had. So Reggie, talk to us a little bit about why you believe the parents of Who Am I and of the community can really buy into this benefit.
I'm sorry, Faith, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Why do you think the parents of the event can pay to and enjoy this event as well?
Well, the parents, we all need information. There's no manual for us to raise children. So we need information. I can remember when the internet first came out, and you're managing your children, and our first instinct was they can't go on it, they can never go on it. And my friend spoke to me and says, what you can't do is handicap them, because they're going to grow up in this world. And if you stop them from using it when they get down the road and children are only doing this, they're going to be behind. So you get involved and help them through the process, but don't stop the process. And
Right.
that was very good for me because my protection mode was to, okay, we're just shutting everything down and then everyone's going to get on it ever and forever. And that is not the answer. The answer is to learn as much as you can and walk this journey with them and hopefully help protect them, because our only job as parents is to protect their children. And that instinct never, ever goes away. But we need help in managing that. And information and community helps them.
Yeah. But we talk on the show a lot about how asking for help is key in how we survive, right? And how we do things, and how parents did it is we asked for help, and we had a lot of help. And this event is one of those resources, not just for the students, but also for the parents to, have an opportunity to have these vulnerable conversations, but also see what their kids are learning and what's against them and what's for them in today's society now. But yeah, why don't we take a little bit of a turn now and we talk about who is coming and who is speaking and who is going to be participating with the event on February 5th.
No, that's great. And it's interesting. We talked prior to the show that, this next week and a half, we're going to really kind of focus on the why, the importance of why parents, this would be a good opportunity for parents to send their kids. But our first is Tracy Training. She's the founder of Teen Age, and she will do a session called How Bad Do You Want It? It will focus on action over words, hard work with personal brand, understanding who they are and how they see them. And I knew I knew Tracy for a while, but Mary, you can probably add to this because you had an opportunity to see Tracy in action, and maybe you want to add to what she brings to our event.
Most definitely. Tracy, actually, I worked with her in having a after-school event at John F. Kennedy Middle School, where we opened it up to students there. And since I was PTA and she was hosting this event, I felt that my kids needed to be a part of it. I mean, this was a joint effort. And so first time around, I told the kids, you got to go. And it was a multi-session event. It wasn't one and done. So, we got the usual feedback of why this is yours, not mine. But they went to this event. And oddly enough, they came back, they were super excited. You always know when teens or youth are excited about something because they come home and when you say, how was it? They say something more than okay.
Yep.
So we had dialogue about it, very positive. My older son was, he kind of, if you see him now and you see him 4 years ago, you would not think that he was the same person. He did not have self-confidence. Great guy, but he was lacking confidence in himself. But they did go and they came back with a little bit of work, and it was amazing because the following weeks, they were the ones that reminded me that there was the session. So, and about all of these sessions, we're not preaching to the kids.
Right.
The dialogue and the interaction that we're having with them is fun and full of energy. So they actually will take something away from this. And in the case of Tracy, it was developing self-confidence.
Yeah.
And I think that on this is confidence really is the engine that pushes a lot of things, especially during those years. Because sometimes that is the very absence of that is where you see a lot of the root of the problems. Now, Reggie, we talk about this segment with Tracy, we talk about self-confidence. We also touched on our panel with the NFL, former NFL players, which is really awesome. And I know the group of guys, and it's going to be really exciting, the crew that you have coming. Now, how do you think that those two will complement each other very well when we talk about the self-confidence and we're talking about, building the personal brand and creating kind of their statement piece as young adults? Why do you think that the NFL and Tracy's company will go hand in hand?
So that's okay. So
Well, Reggie, it's not working again. I apologize. It's just the normal of it all. Maybe try going out and come back in one more time.
no worries. It's like we call it audible. So so and that was a very good question. I think Reggie will get an opportunity to answer that question because
But you can answer it as well, yo.
yeah, the topic is having the former players and how these programs interact with each other and they go with each other. But then our next portal will be Jerry Kurger. You know, as you kind of talk about self confidence, one of the things that we are experiencing with kids is mental health.
Yeah.
And Jerry has been a guest on our show. She is the executive director of NAMI DuPage County, and she will present with a couple of her students an engaging presentation that will help young adults audience learn about the warning signs of mental health conditions and what steps they need to take if loved ones are showing symptoms of mental health conditions. And I think this is an important segment. I don't know, Mary, if you want to touch on how important it is because of your lens on what you see from your lens.
Yeah, again, kids feel entrapped, and I call them kids because I feel that even though their age is teenagers, their exposure or their mental awareness is that of yet much younger than during our days, where we have to grow up kind of quickly. They just overthink things. They don't understand that the magnitude of the issues aren't as grandiose as they may appear to be,
Right.
and they struggle with that. They struggle with solutions. They struggle with time management. They feel overwhelmed, and it causes them to go to extremes on how to feel that they can, or there's no solution. So my only solution is doing something to myself. And that's where I think it's very important to say, you're not odd. This is not just you. This is everybody. And now this is how we can work through it.
When it comes to mental health, and we talk about visibility, students now have so much more visibility to discussions around mental health. And because of that, I feel we need to be even more hands-on with these discussions and more hands-on with understanding what they do know, what they think they know, what they understand, and what they feel that they're feeling. And Reggie, we're talking about NAMI DuPage with Jerry. She's going to come speak with the students, but maybe you can talk a little bit why you think that this mental health segment is so important to the event.
I'm sorry for the emphatic on the last question.
Why do you believe that the working with NAMI DuPage for the event on mental health is important to the overall event?
Well, I think it's important to make sure that we do the best that we can to give as much information for the overall kid, the overall experience. And I know in the panel that the players will be covering some big subjects, peer pressure, teamwork, and bullying, which is probably 3 days for each of those, but we're going to kind of talk about all of them, and we're going to give personal experiences and how we kind of handle those things, especially peer pressure, because we all want to fit in, we all want to get along, and we all want to kind of feel a part of the group. But sometimes you have to be the leader of that group and show by example, and show and kind of give examples how we got through those things, and kind of share some of the life experience about being bullied. I mean, I'm, a big guy now, but, growing up, I had to find my confidence. I was bullied until I was.
Yeah.
At that point,
Looks like we lost him again out of service. Dad, shoot Reggie a message.
I just did.
And so, like I said about like with the mental health segment, and I did not know that's what the former NFL players would be covering is the bullying, peer pressure. That to me, because those two go hand in hand, right? In the experience that students have at school is bullying is probably in 75% of students have an experience with it in some sort of experience, and often we have had seen so many stories of bullying being constant in schools and amongst friends groups for those key developmental years. And we know that now it has some sort of had this conversation of if it is normal among schools. The issue is because of that, we have to continue to have these discussions about why it needs to stop and how these kids can combat it and mental health and having those discussions. But I think that, and Dad, you can tap a little bit on this with NAMI, but I mean, for you, and I'm not trying to, say because you're old or anything like that, because you have many years of wisdom and just seeing so many generations. How is it that you're now starting to see and open your brain to, prioritizing the mental health segment of this and making sure that, it is number one because it influences 1 through 10 a little bit?
Maybe because I'm living it. I have 2 children that are psychology majors.
Yeah.
So, it's part of obviously, and it's important. The people who know our story and know our journey know it was very important for us to be aware of what was going on, in our lives, and us being able to talk about it, and the ending the silence, the stigma behind talking about mental illness is something that's important, and that's why I think Jerry's segment is so important. And our interaction together as father and daughter, we talk a lot about putting up boundaries, and you talk a lot about your own mental health, and
Right.
So I think it's important. It's very, very important. And of course, when you have some of the former players, we have some, Britton Wasowski and Jamar Williams. They will cover some life experiences, some things that they've actually experienced, like Reggie talked about. My story. You know that I had experiences with bullying. So just from trusted voices, not only are they former NFL players, but they have had the same lives that some of these kids are experiencing right now, and to be able to share their stories. And then we kind of segue into our Megan Brooks, state's attorney, will do a segment, a really important segment for K to 12 on keeping our kids safe, ensuring internet safety, and what to do when your child feel at risk. I know maybe Mary, I don't know if you had an opportunity to see Megan, but I think this is probably, if you look at all these segments, I mean, they all go together. And I think this is very important because if I told parents that these were the 4 segments that these kids are going to have a lens on, I would do everything in my possible power to get my kid to that. So maybe you could talk a little bit about Megan and Mary, about her.
Megan's presentation is amazing. She's actually with the state's attorney's office. And basically now, once we put something out there, I don't care if it's Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, what have you, it is out there. It is out there for anyone and everyone to see. I know some of them say, oh, it disappears. No, screenshots never disappear. And one of the stories, and I don't think this is going to be the story that she shares, takes us onto a journey that, with her previous presentation, of a young girl that got lured into internet pornography, and then how she was blackmailed and ended up eventually suiciding because it became just something that was now on the internet. So cyberbullying, cyber safety, and understanding that employer, whatever you put out there as a joke or otherwise, can be viewed by an employer years down the road and can totally have an impact on your life. So understanding social media, understanding how to use it in a positive way is amazing, but also it can be something that's very negative and very detrimental. We had an incident, I think, last year where something went on social media and people lost scholarships to colleges because they were in an environment, by virtue of being in that environment, were doing something that was, while not illegal, perceived not the right thing to do. So that will be Megan's section. And again, all these different sections, while telling or giving important messages, they're filled with fun and excitement. So it's not the students or the attendees are not going to be lectured to. I really feel that they will be enjoying these segments and the presentations will hit home with them.
Yeah. The reach of social media has no limit. The reach of these phones has no limit anymore, right? You can lose an opportunity like that over something that you didn't even do. I've ran plenty of suicides over things that I have never done, but I was just there at the wrong time. And because of social media, those pictures and videos and anything, they can document you at any party, at any event, at any anything there is, and you can lose something like that. So that's so important. But also, it's just the voices on the internet, right? Protecting and learning to navigate, because there's so many people out there now using it as and hurt others, for sure. Now, I really want you guys to dive a little bit though, Dad, and I'm gonna bring Reggie on because hopefully we fixed it. I really want to talk about the NFLPA Chicago chapter, former players, and the RPFBC because I think this is going to be an exciting piece to the event for sure. I mean, for hopefully, right? I think it will be, and I think that these guys that are coming have a lot of amazing stories that will really complement what's coming. So Reggie, why don't you dive a little bit into what the guys are bringing to the table for the event on February 5th?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I apologize. These technical difficulties in the new age.
What do the guys with the RPFBC bring to the event on February 5th?
Who are the guys coming? Brent Novoselsky. When you meet Brent, it's, he's smart and funny and just a great guy to be around. And Jamar Williams. Jamar is played with the Patriots, so he was on I think one of those Tom Brady teams that carries the Super Bowl, but has a lot to say. I've actually done a couple of panels with Jamar, very insightful, and he was real excited about participating because he wanted to talk about a peer pressure, something that he experienced that was powerful for him and how he got over it. So not only kids need to understand that we continue to have some of the same struggles. There are peer pressure situations throughout your entire life. There are bullying situations throughout your entire life. So getting to deal with them, not only because I'm young, but we use those tools and grow with those tools throughout your entire time. So I think the impact of former players sharing their experiences, because sometimes people can look and see what you've done and maybe think they can't talk to you or that I will never do that. But again, we were all in the exact same positions, and we need to be able to be approachable and show these young folks that we're there and standing with them.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for that, Reggie. I think it's going to be really great. Like you said, two amazing former players, and of course we have Schaefer and Reggie along with them that have been in the program for just so long. So to close up, and we'll take from Mary and Reggie to talk about kind of who am I, where to register, the website, and the Facebook page. We want to thank you guys for joining us this morning and talking about who am I, and we really are excited for this event on February 5th.
Thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for all your hard work.
Thanks, guys.
And of course, Dad, why don't we dive a little bit into how we can get involved with Who Am I? So Who Am I has the website. Let me get the link going for our viewers here. And then this is what it looks like. Right, there's a very simple site. Here is our wonderful quote by the Bolingbrook Area Chamber of Commerce. Our youth is the future of society, the future of Bolingbrook. There can be no greater return on the investment than supporting a program that helps groom these future leaders to success. And of course, you have the wonderful supporters of who will be helping out, who am I, and who have been helping along in this process. You see NAMI up there, which we discussed with Jerry, and then we'll talk about mental health. And then you have Teen Edge there, talk about the self-confidence and building that stable piece. And of course, you have the RPFPC, the former players from Chicago, to come and join and tell their story and get people involved in it, and the students involved in, how they got to where they are. And sometimes it's just the mentors you need in society. And then, of course, here we are, as you are, right? 1 to 4 o'clock p.m. It's going to be at the Bolingbrook Recreational Aquatic Center, the BRAC, though, that's what we call it. Here's the wonderful speakers we will have. Like we mentioned on the show, Megan Brooks will come from the state's attorney's office to talk about cyberbullying, and Amber Smith will moderate the panel with the professional former players of Chicago. And it's just an awesome event so far, and we're really excited. Now you can register for the event up there on the left-hand side with the link below. Fill it out, the age. Tickets are only $20 for a really awesome event that includes a swag bag and a t-shirt and a lot of great stuff that's coming. So we're really excited to kind of get everybody involved. If you know somebody that has a teenager in the area that we're talking about, reach out to them, share the word, and then keep your eyes on this and keep it on your radar for future events as well. We are very excited for the first annual Who Am I event. And Dad, anything else you want to touch on that I may have missed in regards to the event?
Yeah, you covered it very, very well. So yes, we're down to the final 10 days. And so we actually meet weekly. Not only do they get a swag bag, they get also a football. So the guys will be signing footballs. And there will be other former NFL players. I know Joy Basso, we want to mention her name, who's Mary's executive secretary, has done a phenomenal job. Obviously, you helped out with our social media, and Joy has kind of navigated the two of you just navigated the whole process. But she's bringing in the games. There'll be beat the pro games, throwing the football. Each portal, between each portal, there will be events. There will be games. Other players will be walking around, interacting with the kids. It's just going to be a fun, upbeat day, and it continues to evolve each week.
Yeah.
We keep adding more stuff. Live music. We have a phenomenal MC, Mike Carpazano, who is phenomenal. He will be emceeing it, and I can't wait, Faith.
Oh, I'm excited. It's going to be wonderful. Like we said, just visit www.whoamIevent.com. I didn't know you guys were doing the Beat the Pro. You guys might need to go dust off those shoulders. I'm a little worried. Might have some embarrassment. Make sure we get those on video for social media for sure. But again, thank you so much for everyone joining us this wonderful Wednesday morning. We are halfway through the week and we're almost there. Again, thank you to Amazon Fire, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Apple TV, and of course, our key platform out of Phoenix, Arizona, E360 TV. Again, this is Faith Family Focus, where our faith is a vehicle to help heal and sustain others on their own core and path to strengthen the family core. And of course, our slogan.
And we have to make sure that Mary, Reggie, and Joy get a Suds mug. Let go, let God, let go, let faith, let go, let love.
That's if you can find them. Everyone have a wonderful week, and we will see you guys on Monday.